generate a platform for the dissemination of noble ideas and fruitful efforts. We bring to you today another such moment to engage with. Ever since the world was struck with a life threatening disease, little did we realize how long it is going to take for us to deal with this situation, to tackle with the threat and navigate through the crisis. However, some people never gave up on their determination nor passion to serve the mass despite the current challenges. We've been blessed with some of the warriors at the work front on health, protection, and law areas. They are the sheroes and heroes who have been bravely fighting against the crisis and serving the nation in ways beyond our restrictions of life. So, ladies and gentlemen, today it is an utmost honor for us to hear from three of such marvelous personalities who have created massive opportunities towards the noble cause for humanity. The talk show presents COVID Warriors, Tales of Nobility in COVID 19. So, we have with us today three mavericks of strength and resilience who will be sharing with us their stories of passion and perseverance during the times we are living in. So, I take this privilege of introducing them all before you, though a Herculean task, but I shall try my best to undertake them anyway. So, the first speaker for us, Dr. Aarti Singh, IPS, Commissioner of Police, Amravati. An MBBS in academics, ma'am has served as a diligent and responsible veteran at the work front, holding posts such as ASP Bamragar, additional SP at
Mute.
Gangotri, SP at Bhandara, Nagpur, Aurangabad, Nasik, to name a few. Ma'am has also been acknowledged for her massive contribution to her field and was thus awarded with DG insignia for outstanding achievement and exemplary courage shown in adverse situation. Ma'am has also received the acclaimed Vishesh Seva Padak by the government of Maharashtra for bravely serving the highly Naxalite infected areas, followed by the Internal Security Medal 2012 by the government of India. Ma'am has also been embellished with the Lokmat Sakhi Award for her extraordinary achievement in public service and the Times of India Award for exceptional contribution in public service. One of her recent acts of courage was displayed during the challenges faced during the pandemic, where she served a brilliant example of the challenges of this crisis. To enforce lockdown and appeal people to stay at home in fight against coronavirus, Nasik Rural Police, led by Dr. Aarti Singh, conducted an 8 kilometers flag march on foot in Malegaon city. And the rest remains a history for us all to take inspiration out of the model created by her team to take the stiff challenges head on. So, ma'am, we are privileged to have you today on the show. Our next speaker, Mr. Sheikh Adil Mustaq, alumnus of University of Pune, sir is pursuing postgraduate diploma in cybercrime. He joined Jammu and Kashmir Police Department in the year 2015, and he also avails Kalinga Fellowship 2020-21 on human trafficking. Having represented state of Jammu and Kashmir in National CK Naidu Cricket Tournament, he's also represented India in the SAARC Country Scout and Guide Summit.
Voice.
Bringing the youth into the mainstream and worked on multiple projects of youth awareness and career counseling in Jammu and Kashmir and outside. Having received Chief Minister's Rolling Trophy for being declared as the best in outdoor combat assault in the basic training course conducted for 14 months at Sher-e Kashmir Police Academy, Udhampur, Sir has also been awarded with Army Chief's Commendation Medal for Perception Management and Youth Awareness. He also established an effective 24/7 surveillance and monitoring cell at Security Kashmir, which led to effective prevention of weapon snatching thefts by terrorists. Participated in important advanced combat training course. Also conducted several anti-insurgency operations in the valley, in which many high-profile local and foreign terrorists were neutralized. And finally, he was being decorated with Director General Central Reserve Police Force Indian Medal for anti-insurgency operation in Kashmir. Reached almost thousands of families with food and medicine. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, he is also the brain behind the Wall of Kindness, Srinagar. So we are honored to have you today on the show. And the third speaker, Dr. Usha Khair, Deputy Superintendent, Jammu and Kashmir Police. This individual with a keen sense of justice and a drive to enforce the law and provide reassurance to the public. A hardworking, proactive, and experienced police officer with an upbeat attitude, leader perhaps with a great team spirit. Dr. Usha ma'am is a highly motivated person in her vision to achieve excellence in her profession. A PhD in electronic science from University of Delhi, she is also currently posted as AHJ Jammu. Her previously served position include Women's Cell CID Jammu as in charge passport and verification branch. Needless to say that ma'am has an innumerable achievement under her belt, such as being awarded by the Chief of France in the year 2015 for foreign training component under developing specialist investigator training of Indian police. Ma'am has also been awarded Commendation Medal by the Director General of Police Jammu and Kashmir. In 1996, she also received certificates from DGP Haryana and Punjab and Jammu Kashmir. In the past, some of her other representatives' responsibility include that she had been assigned with special duty with the then Honorable Prime Minister Sri Deve Gowda ji, Sri I.K. Advani ji, to mention a few out of her large canvas of assignments she had been entrusted with from time to time. So, ma'am, we gladly welcome you to the show today.
Thank you.
And our moderator for the day, Ms. Rakhi Bakshi, founder, managing editor, and director of Her World, a leading web portal that believes in empowering with information on sustainability, gender equality, and other social issues, creating allies along the way. Ma'am is a veteran media professional, the former media advisor to the Lok Sabha Speaker, and a role model for girls and women all over the world. It's needless to say that the kind of energy and passion which she brings into this platform is par excellence, and an initiative as hers is worth all the applaud and encouragement. So, our other partners for the show today include the Honor of Women, SDG Chopal, and Initiative of Nagrik Foundation, and Kateri India. So, I welcome on this note our speakers for the day to every one of you who have joined us. And now, I hand the session to our moderator, Rakhi ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sapna, and a very, very warm welcome to all of you. It's really, truly my delight to have you amidst us, the three eminent panelists who have joined us, and what an interesting time I'm sure it's going to be for all of us. Thank you, Sapna, for a very kind introduction. And I think that these three speakers have been introduced. We know about what Policy Center and Gender Lab is doing, and we are really guided by Miranda House, its acting principal, Dr. Vijay Lakshmi Nanda, who always joins us, and I hope she joins us today as well. And all the other people who have joined us today on this show. Her World Talk Show is very special to us in terms of even celebrating some of those ideas that need to be talked about, some of those concerns that need to be pondered and, as I say, acted upon. And today we thought that now that we are in the time of COVID-19 and pandemic, why don't we also not only salute the whole idea of what policing is doing for citizenship, but also some of the women officers who the kind of work that they are doing, also police officers and the other voices. So, for example, Sheikh Adil is joining, and I know the kind of noble work he's doing apart from his duty, which could be routine. I would really like to, first of all, welcome Dr. Aarti Singh, who's joined us from Amravati, Commissioner of Police, and a woman. The first question to you, Dr. Aarti, when you say you're a police officer but also a woman, uh, how have you felt in the past while handling your duties, which are sometimes difficult but also responsible? How does it come to you as a woman or a police officer, or both?
It won't be an exaggeration when I say that we all women are blessed with this ability to be versatile. We can handle so many things at a time, and I think everybody would agree to this because there's something we are doing. We have to look over our responsibilities at home as well as our job. So all women are blessed with that. Probably this is an inherent talent with all of us. So it becomes really easy. But at the same time, when I say to the answer to the question of yours, you require a family support, a strong family support, to excel the outside world. Because when a woman steps out and try to match or try to excel in the field in the given responsibility or the task entrusted to her, fingers are, eyebrows are raised. People think women will not be able to do this. And I mean, you have to actually work double of what men do to prove that you're even half the worth of what men are. So that's something everybody agrees to. But yes, once you've established yourself, you're not questioned. And for that, you also require a strong family support. And I'm lucky to have that. And that's why I'm here, probably one of the most successful IPS officers in the cadre in my state right now, because I've served right from Naxal infested areas of the Gadchiroli. The state has one very difficult Naxal infested area. So serving from that to India's one of the most sensitive communal hotspots, which is Malegaon, which is known to be, it has a history of two bomb blasts in 2006 and 2008 and a big communal run in the year 2001. So I had always had a very challenges, but uh, especially this challenge, which this pandemic threw, I had an advantage of being an MBBS doctor. So being a doctor and in the police force, I think I could do justice to the job uh, I was entrusted with.
So that exactly is what is very inspiring, Dr. Aarti. When women like you reach to higher positions, of responsible positions, they do too many things. They become icons. They inspire younger generations. They inspire a lot of women as to they could also look at a life which, of course, is full of challenges, but how they can achieve their own goals. So it is a very dynamic position, but it has messages which are very positive, optimistic. At the same time, it teaches one, career skills, life skills, all those elements. And I think that's why when you come and talk on shows like these, I think the whole word spreads. And I think it creates that kind of environment of trust and confidence, which we really need to talk about. So thank you so much. I would like to go to Sheikh Adil. And before we really talk about his wall of kindness, which is really come, to be known for greatly, and people are talking about it in Srinagar. Mr. Adil, let me for a change start with, how does it feel uh, to be a police officer in the region, where you're also talking about as to how in that region more women should be supported. So how does it come to you? I mean, the whole idea, you're a male police officer, but there are women, let's say, in the region who would need support. So how, as a male officer, you get that kind of sensitivity when you deal with such situations or cases? Sheikh Adil. Can we hear him? If there is a problem, we'll keep going to the other
Sir,
person.
sir needs to unmute himself.
It's unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, I can. Sheikh Adil, welcome.
Yeah.
So the question I was asking you
I
is that
I heard your question, ma'am. I heard your question. Thank you so much for having me over on this talk show. I mean, briefly responding to your question that you asked me, how if at all there are a few women here in the police force in Jammu and Kashmir, how they're coping up with the demands of the job, and how am I finding it on the field. I would like to tell you that in Jammu and Kashmir, especially the valley, a job in the police force is not a very sought after kind of or option of employment. And over a period of last few years, things have been changing, but earlier things haven't been like that. And when it comes to women, to choose their career options, and choosing police as their career options, I would. I will have no hesitation in saying that this, when choosing a job in the police force, will definitely be the last option that they will choose. Besides that, talking the kind of environment that we work in, see, we have been fighting insurgency, active insurgency since last 30 years. And that is what makes the job of police very demanding. And J&K Police, from the very beginning, has been at the forefront of fighting this menace. I mean, we have been having some top-class officers. I mean, our bosses, some DGPs. I think one of them is live with us at the moment. And and they have done some tremendous work in this field. But at the end, if you talk about me, this was always my passion. I am BE Civil from University of Pune, and at the same time, I completed my Masters in Technology and Foundation Engineering from the same place. I was asked to join the campus placement, which I did not join. I would very explicitly say it here on this platform that I would have made a very bad engineer out of me if I had chosen that field. So my passion was with the uniform, and I'm enjoying this job. Doesn't matter how tough it is. I mean, the tougher it gets, it's more exciting for me.
No, actually, I saw one of your videos, and I saw you really doing your work diligently, where you were unaffected by, frankly, as to who it was. So sometimes these pressures also which come to you women, I mean police officers, that as to who you are dealing with, those big names or somebody who's considered very very important, things like that. But I saw that you were dealing with that situation with much ease, and that's what talks about your competence and belief in where you are and what kind of duty you're doing. So thank you so much for doing that. Sheikh Adil, will come back to you on the
Thank you,
question
ma'am. Thank you so much.
on the question of what else are you doing, which is not only your duty, but as you said, which is also a social element within you that you bring about. And thank you so much for being that person and being that officer. We'll go to Dr. Usha here now, joining from Jammu. And Usha ji, आप भी ये
जी
बताइए कि सबसे पहले तो आप जो शो में आई हैं, आपको लग कैसा रहा है कि एक शो में आप आई हैं, एक वुमन पुलिस ऑफिसर आप हैं, और साथ ही जिस रीजन से आप आ रही हैं, तो एक किस तरह का एहसास है आपके लिए?
मुझे आई एम हाईली फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई वुड लाइक टू से आई एम highly extremely grateful to you and your team for giving me opportunity and honor to speak about my life journey as a police officer and COVID-19 pandemic. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है because I'm the first lady of my community जिससे पुलिस ज्वाइन किया है, and I work with different organizations like traffic, police, and CID, then armored police and anti hijacking. मेरा experience जो रहा है, totally I got different experience, and because अलग अलग तरह के नवियत के केसेस मेरे पास आते थे. I solved as many as thousands of cases like husband wife disputes and teasing, molestation, then burn cases and harassment of ladies, dowry, blind murder cases. And
तो लेकिन रुषा जी,
लेकिन
यहाँ पूछना चाहूंगी कि कितना मुश्किल था ये सब जब आपने ज्वाइन करने का सोचा पुलिस, तो कितना, क्योंकि हम ये भी बात कर रहे हैं कम्युनिटीज में अभी डॉक्टर आरती ने बोला फैमिली का सपोर्ट उनके साथ बहुत है, इसलिए बहुत सक्सेसफुल रही हैं, बट आपने जब जम्मू जैसे शहर में ये सोचा कि पुलिस में आप जाएंगे, ज्वाइन करेंगे, फिर आप ज्वाइन किया भी आपने, तो वो समय कैसा था? कितनी मुश्किल आई आपको, या कैसा रहा वो समय जब आपने ज्वाइन किया?
जब मैंने ज्वाइन किया, क्योंकि बहुत कम लेडीज थी उस टाइम, हमारा फर्स्ट बैच था जिन्होंने फील्ड में काम किया. उससे पहले हमसे पहले फील्ड में कोई मतलब बहुत कम लेडीज थी जो बिल्कुल उस पे लोअर रैंक्स पे थी. और जब हमने ज्वाइन किया तो हमें काफी मुश्किलात भी आई, एंड वी फेस लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स एंड डिफिकल्टीज, बट women is a embodiment of creation. She has accorded a very important place in the whole world. Similarly, world cannot be sustained without women. Similarly, police department is incomplete without women. तो मुझे लगा कि वुमेन का पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट होना बहुत लाजमी है, क्योंकि अगर पुलिस में विमेन फोर्स नहीं होगा तो माना जाएगा कि एक इंसाफ जो जस्टिस औरतों को मिलना चाहिए वो नहीं मिलता है. तो इन ओल्डन डेज विमेन वर नॉट गिवन एजुकेशन, वो उनको सही तरीके से उनको बाहर निकाला नहीं जाता था, एक कंजर्वेटिव माहौल में वो थे. लेकिन हम जब डिपार्टमेंट में आए तो हमें ऐसा एक चैलेंजिंग लगा कि सबसे पहले तो पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट आना एक हमारे लिए एक चैलेंज था. उसके बाद जब हम आए तो हमें काफी चैलेंजेस जो आए उनको फेस किया और मुश्किलातें भी आई, और हमने इसको बखूबी निभाया, और जो भी जस्टिस हम दे पाते थे लेडीज को हमने दिया.
बहुत 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 अच्छी बात आपने कही है, एंड वी विल ऑफ कोर्स keep talking about some of these points that need to be talked about. और मैं एक के बाद एक आऊंगी, लेकिन मैं फिर से एक बार डॉक्टर आरती के पास जाना चाहती हूँ. और डॉक्टर आरती, ये कई बार ये माना जाता है, जैसे कि अभी भी रेशियो तो कम ही है, चाहे वो जुडिशरी की बात करें, हम पुलिस की बात करें, कि वो नंबर्स जिसमें वो विमेन के पुलिस ऑफिसर्स के नंबर्स जो हैं, फिगर्स जो है वो अभी कम है। या अगर हम उनकी ऊंची पोजीशंस पे बात करें, आई मीन इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द पोजीशंस दैट दे आर होल्डिंग एंड हाउ मच at the top that we see them, you would say that the journey is still continuing and the goal is still has to be reached in terms of numbers, especially at the important positions. So is there what kind of challenges one faces while, let's say, this whole idea that whether women can prove themselves, whether they can be assigned top positions, they can be given positions of responsibility, especially in tough areas, which you are doing. But generally, I mean, this whole idea of giving them those assignments is not really a very easy or a normal idea, Dr. Aarti.
Yeah, true, very true. And the top positions, the managerial positions in any sector, it's still difficult. The journey still continues, as you very rightly said, and it will, I think, will take more years to come. So, because when I see myself in my state, I am probably one of the very rare um, lady officer who is occupying. So wherever I've been the first lady officer everywhere. I mean, be it the Naxal infested area or the communist sensitive area, or currently the position which I am holding as a commissioner of police. So even here, I'm the first lady. What happens is, one, the reason why not many lady officers are chosen for this. One is there's still doubt in the minds that there's this inherent social belief that the ladies maybe they're not capable enough. But yes, this belief is being broken now. And secondly, you just can't blame the male ideology and thinking for that. We women also are responsible for this, because what happens if most of the time, whatever job is entrusted to a lady, wherever she's working, it happens. I mean, if you have to work a little extra, you have to be open to that. You can't take an excuse that I have my small kids at home I have to look after, I can't do this, no extra job to me. So if this is a scenario, then probably there's always a hiccup in thinking of putting the ladies at the top positions. So I would actually suggest or say that a lady has to be open for all that. So you should be mentally prepared that somewhere you have to sacrifice. If you have to hold the position, it's not sacrificing, rather I would say a balance. A balance comes, as I told you, with a strong family support. So when you have to work for late odd hours, then there has to be someone to look after the needs of the family. And once it is balanced, I think then you can actually convince. Because this has happened to me many times, where wherever I go, wherever I head, like the transfer job, every 1 year, 2 year, we get transferred. But the irony of the situation is, wherever a new place, wherever one goes, people are suspicious, doubtful. How can a lady head the force? I mean, because you are commanding around 4,000 constabulary and a huge district with a population of 60 lakhs. So a lady heading that, people are actually suspicious. And then it takes around 1 or 2 months. They observe, they keenly observe, and then they study. And
I can
there was a
I can truly get that visual actually, and this whole idea of breaking those perceptions, the perceptive barriers, so to say, Dr. Aarti, which you, of course, have been successfully, you have broken that. But I think a lot of women could still be struggling, and we only wish that through these programs, through conversations, through policy analysis, these elements are taken into consideration, and they should be. And in fact, it's happening now, as you rightly said. We are seeing it in armed forces. We are seeing it everywhere, that now there is a thinking which is changing the mindset that no, we should give them a chance. And I think that's a very happy news. to also look at right now with optimism. Let's come to Sheikh Adil, and let's also talk about now, when we talk about male police officers, the kind of kindness I was saying, and I'll come to, for everyone's knowledge, the wall of kindness that he has prepared. I would like to first talk about that also. Sheikh Adil, where did you really get this idea? It has been talked about, that it has been mentioned abroad also, and people are very happy. Also because it creates that kind of confidence that police officers would really wish for, that people have, they trust them, they can reach out to them, and they can think that it's not only the hardcore policing that they do, but through that policing, they also are helping and supporting the citizens. So that's what you did when you thought of Wall of Kindness. Tell us more about that, Sheikh Adil.
See, ma'am, before I tell you about the wall of kindness,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to talk about the point that Aarti ma'am was talking about. That was the participation of women in different institutions of the society.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just briefly, I mean, I couldn't hold myself without talking about it. See, we need to understand that every institution of the society is basically a reflection, an offshoot, and a subset of the society. So the basic conditioning of a person that takes place in the society, that is reflected when that person becomes a part of any of the institution
Mm-hmm.
which is serving the society. So in our society, and especially in the traditional hyper spiritual, hyper religious societies, we have seen the kind of conditioning that this woman goes through. I mean, right from her birth, and that there's a classification of things that this is for you and this is not for you. If this is football, this is to be played by the male child of the family. If this is badminton, she can play badminton, and many other things. And tomorrow, when she reaches a stage where it comes when the time comes that she has to pay back to the society, and for her to choose the kind of job, the career, I mean, she's always guided by the kind of conditioning that she has gone through. So this is basically because of this kind of stereotyping, this kind of classification of things that she falls prey to. This was one part of what I wanted to speak. The second thing, when you were asking me about the wall of kindness, actually, ma'am, this idea is a corollary idea. This is a carry forward idea of the work that we did during the evolution of this pandemic. I mean, we at one point in time we were caught off guard. We had absolutely no idea what this crisis will evolve as. And at that time, we had also not witnessed, at least our generation had not witnessed anything of this sort. And that was the time when even the non-state organizations, the non-governmental organizations, civil society groups, and the social groups, the volunteers, during the lockdown 1.0, they were not able to work, they were not allowed to move, the traffic was not on the roads and streets, and the lockdown was very strict. And that was the time when we were already on the roads, and there was slackness in the official mandate. It was not as demanding as it is now. So we didn't have much of the official work to do since I was in the traffic wing. And then is when this idea struck me. We had around 17 motorcyclists here in the traffic wing of Jammu and Kashmir Police City, Srinagar. And I requested my boss that why don't we commission and why don't we use them for the home delivery of essentials and medicines, especially the life-saving drugs. And these cyclists, which are usually doing the regulation enforcement work on the streets, their services were utilized. I utilized their services for around a month, more than a month or so. And after the unlock 1.0, I used the volunteers to do the same work. During this time, ma'am, we reached to people through social media and through word of mouth, which was very difficult during those times, but somehow whatever minimum we could manage, we did it. And people used to reach to us through our Twitter handles, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, whatever way. Because we had appealed to people, we had already popularized it in the social media that whosoever knows anyone who is in need of anything that he thinks that he cannot procure easily, they can reach us. Ultimately, we had 4 groups. We started 4 WhatsApp groups. One was ask for food, second was free medicine, third was medicine home delivery, and the fourth was COVID-19 community help. Out of these 4, the earlier 3 that I talked about, they were used for databasing the calls that we used to get, and then accordingly we used to address those calls and problems, whatever people had. Through this mode, we have reached almost more than 1,000 families with free medicine and food. And ma'am, the point to mention here is that we have not asked for any monetary donation here. This was just possible because of some like-minded people who chipped in at the right time, and they said that we are going to help people. And when I can go in greater details in explaining the modus operandi through which we help people. But then the number of calls, and after Unlock 1.0, the number of calls for these things, medicines and groceries dropped, and we started this another group that I talked about, COVID-19 Community Help. Through the medium of this group, we donated plasma, we donated blood and oxygen concentrators. That was critical life support at your doorstep. And in that, some of the local NGOs have supported us in that, and that is still working. And we still get calls for these oxygen concentrators and the blood plasma. And after the calls for these things dropped, it was on the 13th of last month when the World Kindness Day was falling that this idea struck my mind. I discussed it with some of my friends that if we start something of this sort, that we erect a wall of kindness where people can donate, and who are needy, they can take whatever they want from this. And the basic concept and idea behind this wall of kindness or this kind of charity is charity with dignity, because here you don't know who is donating to whom and who is taking what from whom. So we try to maintain the minimum dignity that we can. And the second most important thing, earlier we have seen walls of kindness where people can donate their used clothes. But this wall of kindness is a little different. We have kept it open. Anybody can donate anything. People have donated potatoes, I have seen. People have donated cooked food. People have donated pencils. I mean, yesterday I saw a small chap that he wanted a pencil, and then he said, please give me one more. I have my sister at home. So these things, I mean, there's a very range of things in which people have donated there. I have also kept an arrangement of free tea and coffee. There are dispensers there. Winters in Kashmir, as you know, are very harsh. So anybody who wants to keep himself warm, he can grab a cup of tea and coffee. The dispensers are there. He can self-help himself. Plus, at the same time, I would, through your medium, if there are any donors who are listening to me, I'm highly thankful to those people who have come forward and they have donated wholeheartedly. Today, only the SAS International has donated 500 ferens, which is a local cloak that you wear to keep yourself warm. Some other friend has donated around 300 blankets, kanglis, and other things. People are coming, and I'm overwhelmed with the response.
Thank you so very much. And I think all these things that you said, Sheikh Adil, not only makes you, a very good and in a real sense, a genuine police officer who's not only doing his duty, but, really listening to that call of duty with his soul also. And that's what you've done through this, all those, all those things that you have done and explained here. And I'm sure that all these things that one is hearing about fills us with a lot of pride once again in officers like you, in police officers like you, and also this whole idea of what nobility is all about. Especially we always say this: grace in crisis, and a human heart in crisis. And that's what you've showcased through your work. And thank you so much. And I think all those people who are listening to this show and to these officers here, of course, are also taking home some points, to how they can reach out in their own ways and how they can actually, even ask people for help. For example, thinking that the police who's coming is only to kind of have a punitive kind of approach is not correct. He or she is also coming to you because he or she wants to really help you and support you. And there are ways that one can exchange ideas. I mean, as he's saying, that let's look at these are the things we are doing, but if you have any idea, if you have any support system, then do come to us. So at Her World, this is what we do every time. We also become a medium to link such things, and that's why these stories are being brought to you, so that you learn, you understand, and you also understand the whole idea of not only courage, but as we are saying, nobility also. And that's in COVID-19 is coming through, and we are thankful for that. Dr. Shakir, now to you also, COVID-19, what has it taught you? I mean, how have you reached out to people, to women, to men in your region? आपने ऐसी क्या-क्या चीजें की जिससे लगा कि आप लोगों की मदद कर पाएंगे, शकीर?
COVID one of the worst phases in our life. Since grocery shops were closed, people were unable to buy goods and other necessities. Therefore, me and my team together distributed cloths, blankets, and packet meals. This was a door-to-door service provided by J&K police, and one of the best thing was mask. We are also distributed self-made masks to the people. और उसके साथ साथ this is our first and foremost responsibility and duty towards our public, towards the people of Kashmir, J&K. So these kind of things we did.
देखिए, क्योंकि ये सवाल इसलिए भी है और इसको थोड़ा सा और उठाऊंगी, आई विल आस्क यू कि लोगों ने ये कहा कि ठीक है, मास्क नहीं पहनने पे अब जैसे बहुत सख्ती हो रही है, सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग नॉर्म्स विच वी ऑल मस्ट रियली मेंटेन, बट जब जैसे लॉकडाउन हुआ था उस समय भी तो लोग सोचते हैं कि जो पुलिस में है वो सिर्फ सख्ती से काम लेते हैं, वो सिर्फ लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए आगे आते हैं, बट वेदर दे रियली रीच आउट टू सिटीजन्स. बहुत सारे लोगों को हमने देखा होगा और आप भी जानती हैं कि बहुत सारे पुलिस ऑफिसर्स को हमने देखा कि वो खाना भी बना रहे थे, वो खाना बांट भी रहे थे. So you know, all these human aspect also, apart from really doing their own duty of policing, क्योंकि केसेस भी सामने आ रहे हैं. हमने देखा कि फॉर एग्जांपल विमेन डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के केसेस बढ़ गए लॉकडाउन में और वो केसेस बहुत सारे सामने आए. इसके अलावा बहुत सारे केसेस जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट से उपजे या बहुत सारे ग्रुप्स में कई बार बातचीत आपस में हुई, उसकी वजह से भी प्रॉब्लम आई, एंड दैट्स दोज थिंग्स आल्सो वर टैकल्ड बाय द पुलिस. And apart from that, they were doing this. So of course, the double the task that they have been doing, you know, and sometimes we just paint everyone in with the same brush and we say कि नहीं पुलिस तो ऐसी है, पुलिस ने ये नहीं किया होगा या पुलिस ने ये नहीं कर पाई. But that is the whole idea, to also bring about the other side and ask you, जैसे आप वुमन पुलिस ऑफिसर हैं तो बहुत सारी विमेन जैसे आती हैं और उनकी अपनी समस्याएं, कई बार तो वो कहती नहीं है लेकिन कई बार उन समस्याओं को लेकर भी आती हैं. What would you say? Is there anything आप शेयर करना चाहेंगी, जैसे कि जो कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स हैं जो विमेन की आपको नजर आई हो, खासकर कोविड-19 में या और भी समय पे?
I remember a case of mine when I was SHO Udhampur. There was a 3-year-old girl, and her mother had gone to market, and she told her husband to take care of baby. When she came back to her home, she saw blood stains on the floor, and the baby was continuously crying. वो बहुत रो रही थी. Then when I got information through the reliable sources, and I rushed to the spot, and I inquired about the whole episode कि क्या हुआ है. Then I asked the baby, and she pointed towards her father. मैंने उसको पूछा कि ये किसने किया, because she was a 3 years old, and I asked her ये किसने किया, and because her father, he was drunk, and it was very painful and very unfortunate कि उस टाइम हमें ऐसी सी चीजों का सामना करना पड़ता है कि जो कि इनह्यूमन होता है, और ऐसी चीजों को डील करने के लिए एक बहुत हमें कभी-कभी स्ट्रांग, वी हैव टू बी वेरी स्ट्रांग समटाइम्स, एंड वी हैव टू बी वेरी पोलाइट ऑल्सो, क्योंकि पोलाइटली इन चीजों को बड़ा सोफिस्टिकेटेडली बड़ा डील करना पड़ता है, बड़ी डेप्थ में जाना पड़ता है. देन व्हाट वाज द मोर पैथेटिक वाज दैट द वाइफ वाज trying to convince me to let go of her husband, since he was the only source of his income. उनके पास और कोई source ही नहीं था. And then I registered a case against him, और उस पे हमने फिर इन्वेस्टिगेट किया. मतलब ऐसी ऐसी चीजें हमें लाइफ में आ गई अपने करियर में, अपनी सर्विस के दौरान, कि जो कि बड़ी पैथेटिक होती हैं, जो कि बहुत दर्दनाक होती हैं, लेकिन बिकॉज आई कंसिडर माई सेल्फ एज ए ह्यूमन बीइंग फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, कि हम यूनिफॉर्म में जरूर होते हैं, लेकिन हमें हर किसी को कंसिडर करना चाहिए कि हमें जब तक इंसानियत का तकाजा नहीं होगा तब तक हम किसी को जस्टिस नहीं दे सकते हैं, किसी को इंसाफ नहीं दे सकते हैं. तो हमें सबसे पहले ये सोचना चाहिए, वी मस्ट फील दैट वी आर आल्सो ह्यूमन बीइंग, और हमें ह्यूमैनिटी हमारे अंदर होनी चाहिए. देन वी कैन गिव द जस्टिस टू द masses.
This is one of the beautiful things that you said, and to quote you, that we are also human beings and not only police officers, and that is the quote that I really take home for her world also today. To also Dr. Aarti now. Dr. Aarti, one thing which is generally said, and that you said that, you know, you handled some of these sensitive areas, and where you had to really be tough in the, within codes and handle your position. But at the same time, what happens is that when you do that with strictness as a woman police officer, then you're branded that you're being very masculine also. And this whole idea of policing becomes very macho in a very, very, very strict sense. And when you're a woman police officer, how do you deal with those kind of perceptions as to which, how do you really balance yourself? That you're doing the task of policing, you have to take tough measures, you are a woman, you also have to have sensitivity to understand things, but also be strict when it comes to being strict with criminals, for example, or policing as a duty. What would you say? I mean, how do you think in the present time those mindsets have a shift, or is there lots to go ahead now still on?
Well, I would say mindsets are changing. When you are occupying that chair and you are executing what is required of you, it doesn't get into the mind of the criminals or the public that, oh, she's a women officer and she can't be strict, or I mean, she can't be tough. It doesn't happen. It has never ever happened with me. So and that masculinity which you say, I think with so many women police officers coming into the police service, it definitely is not, it has never happened that people think, oh, she's behaving very masculine or macho type of thing is there. Because as the time or as the condition demands, we behave like that. And probably I've never come across this case. No, this is a male's area and you have to actually become more masculine to do all that. It has never happened with me. So
Okay.
I think, and of course people do know the best thing which I have experienced till now is women come forward. I mean, where otherwise they would be a little reluctant, hesitant to approach a male officer. With
Mm-hmm.
what happens is they are very proactive, and I've seen women coming in large number, and
Mm-hmm.
they talk openly also. So that's an advantage which women have in police, because with the increasing crime against women, you require women at every level in the system, so that women are welcome
Mm-hmm.
and open, women open up to you. Otherwise, they are into the police stations, but they don't open up much because of course, yeah, the comfort level is not that much when you're talking to a male officer. So that is an advantage of women in police.
Okay, okay. Also to Sheikh Adil, any such experience? You've seen your female colleagues, and though you're a male officer, but I would like to ask that we are also talking. But and I'll go to Dr. Aarti and Usha ji. But I would like to ask you also, when women and police officers and their own concerns are there, they really need a lot of support. Also, even for example, the logistics that are provided to them, and as to how male colleagues come out also and work in an environment where they have to co-work together, they have to exist with each other. How does that happen? And that itself will actually solve many of the problems that women police officers face if they get that kind of understanding from their male colleagues, that kind of support. Also, sometimes if you've seen, you go in groups, or sometimes that you are in a police station. What would you say about that atmosphere, Sheikh Adil, with your kind of study? You're also studying cybercrime, for example, that women today are facing a lot of cases when it comes to cybercrime. But where would you look at women? Women as the other side of women who are coming to you with cases, and women who are your colleagues, and women who needs also the right kind of atmosphere support from male police officers. What would you say about that?
See, ma'am, I told you in the beginning only that here we don't have many women colleagues here to be working with us. I mean,
You can
right
talk
from,
a little bit in general with your background and understanding. I mean, yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm telling
Throw
you.
more
So,
light on that, yeah.
yeah. So, right from my basic induction training till now, when I was in the basic induction training in Udhampur, we had around 30 to 40 women officers. Most of them were from the prosecution wing who were being trained with
Mm-hmm.
us. And we had around 3 women officers in our batch of 19. And among those, 2 did not join for the training. One was with us for the training course. I mean, at that time, I can tell you, we were there when we were being trained. We offered all the support that we could. But that at the same time, when you talk of supporting your women colleague while you're working in a kind of environment that I've worked with, I mean,
Mhm.
I kind of don't agree with you. And why does she need support? Once you say that she needs support, you already declare her as a weaker gender, or you declare her that.
Understanding is the word, Shekhadil. Understanding the word. When I say that, I think support may be a word, but understanding meaning that how, of course, she is a police officer. She has to, undertake those tasks which are considered whether whatever tough or not. But what I'm saying is that you're in a group and like less women are there. So if that understanding, that perceptive idea is really tackled well, then things become better also for her. Let's also look at her. We're talking about humanity, is to also look at some of the concerns that though she's a police officer, but comes from a gender. That's where I was.
You see, I tell you, in the beginning only I told you that we live in, I mean, we're still a traditional society. If we even talk of the country as a whole, I mean, given some these exceptions like some metropolitan cities in India, which must have progressed beyond the limit. But besides that, we largely are a traditional society. And there's a hyper spiritual and hyper religious approach, as I told you. And I also talked about the concept of conditioning. So that is the problem, the kind of synergy that you expect between the male and female colleagues in the field,
Mhm.
and while you're working somewhere, that may not be, to the level that you expect. I mean, that is the problem is still there. I mean, that kind
Also,
of.
also, okay. Also, Shikadil, what kind of cases? I mean, especially in COVID-19, and I'm of course taking up too many issues here, but and maybe sometimes getting a little mixed. But in COVID-19, I would say because as the reports came that women experiencing more violence, domestic violence, or cases of conflict arose, in especially when strict lockdown was happening. What would you say? What kind of cases did come to you or in your assignments? I mean, what was your whole idea of looking at their concerns, the kind of cases which were coming through, and to how the situation was and how really you tackled them also? Because sensitivity became a very important element, especially in the present time.
Yes. See, there's one thing that during this COVID crisis, I was posted in the traffic wing of JNK Police,
Hmm.
and such kind of cases would definitely not be reported to me. But what I could hear from my colleagues, and we definitely have a crime records bureau here. If we want to know about these kind of cases, we can get to know from there also. But here, the reporting on domestic violence cases is very low than the rest of the country. These kind of
Okay.
cases are not reported usually here in our part of the country, and wherever they are reported, they are reported because of the support of some NGO, some peers, and maybe some people who keep that kind of spirit of helping people and bringing them out of this crisis. Otherwise, yes, definitely the crisis, during this crisis, domestic violence definitely has been on the growing curve. And if we talk of rest of the country, we have been reading in the newspapers, print media, and other forms of media that these cases have been growing against women folk.
Yeah, and since you were talking about reaching out to people in general, and through those noble gestures that you were, what would you say it created that kind of confidence also in people, but also in women to be specific? Because this is a time that women would really feel, happier that that support is coming to them, and they are being facilitated, in terms of those those logistics that they are being provided for.
You see, the most of the calls that we used to get it from the men folk. I mean, every time we received a call, and so there was a male caller on the other side. But yes, we used to get calls. I mean, I tell you, I mean, during this pandemic, we have got calls, many calls. I mean, they're on record. We have a database maintained here. We had a lady volunteer who used to maintain the database in the Excel format. I can tell you there have been many calls, even for the sanitary napkins, and we have received them and got them delivered. I mean, this has been a problem here. We may not talk about it. I'll tell you, even on this wall of kindness, we had people donated it. I had kept some cartons of it, and people have taken it because what has happened here. I'll talk about Valley. That the downtrodden section, which was already a downtrodden section, it has further been pushed to the wall economically by this crisis. The lockdown of almost a year here. In that, I mean, if I speak in accurate numbers, more than a year since August 5. So people have been pushed to the wall economically, and women folk here, which look after the families, the households, they are bearing the brunt of this crisis.
Anything like the way Usha ji was narrating, let's say episodes, and this is what I really want some of you to also share with the participants here on the show, as to there something that really touched you, something that really you thought more about than usual in the present time, especially that while performing your duty, but any incident that you would like to share, any such episode, any such particular story. I mean, no pressure, but if it comes to you, for example, how you dealt with a particular situation and how it was.
The question is for me?
Yeah, Sheikh Adil. Yes, I'm
All right.
still. Yeah.
See, I the only pressure that I've had during this time, during the COVID time, I told you the official mandate has been very slack. I mean, it hasn't been as demanding as it usually gets. But during that time, the only pressure that was on my shoulders was that I should reach to all of the people who reached to me with a hope, with the expectation, yes, that I'll answer their call. I mean, you won't believe, I, I used to spend almost a day from 9 in the morning till 12 in the night on WhatsApp and with my volunteers. That how many calls do we have to close? Who needs what? In which group do we have to put a particular call? How does it get addressed? Who are the volunteers in that particular area? Who will get it from my office? Because most of the stuff we used to pack in my office, and the volunteers would come and take it from my office and deliver it at the location where it was supposed to. So the only pressure that I have had during this time was of this sort.
Okay, now that you mentioned technology and how through WhatsApp you actually also maintain your contact or got to know as to what people were asking for. Usha ji, I would like to ask you, and this is actually now for both Dr. Aarti and Usha ji, but to begin with Usha ji also, how much technology or let's say the training for it is being provided? Whether women, one would ask, of course, they're as competent as Sheikh Adil was saying, and they should be. But Aarti ji, how much technology do you think you could use, to actually help people or understand cases, understand things? We are also talking about this whole digital being new normal. तो आपने टेक्नोलॉजी को किस तरह से यूज किया या टेक्नोलॉजी ने किस तरह से हेल्प किया ऐसे में आपको अपनी पुलिसिंग करने में, उषा जी? मैं आपसे यही पूछ रही थी कि वो जैसे अभी शेख आदिल बता रहे थे कि व्हाट्सएप के द्वारा खासकर ये बहुत एक फर्क पड़ा कि वो बहुत सारी चीजों को समझ पाए, बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन की एक्सचेंज हो पाई और इस वजह से वो मदद भी कर पाए और अपने काम को आगे भी बढ़ा पाए. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी की जो सहयोग है वो आपके काम में रहा? और दूसरी चीज ये भी कि क्या टेक्नोलॉजिकल ट्रेनिंग जब पुलिस में होती है तो क्या विमेन पुलिस ऑफिसर्स को भी उतना ही शेयर मिलता है कि वो इस तरह की ट्रेनिंग में जाएं? उनको भी अगर ट्रेनिंग में 10 लोगों को बुलाया जा रहा है तो कितनी विमेन पुलिस ऑफिसर्स को भी ये अवसर या अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है कि वो ट्रेनिंग का हिस्सा बने, चाहे वो टेक्नोलॉजी हो या फर्दर ट्रेनिंग की बात हो?
नहीं, ट्रेनिंग तो सबके लिए ही मस्ट है, चाहे वो मेल ऑफिसर हो और फीमेल ऑफिसर हो, बट डिस्पाइट सर्टेन एफर्ट्स अ लॉट नीड्स टू बी डन टू मेक द पुलिस फोर्स अ बेटर वर्क प्लेस फॉर वीमेन. तो उनके लिए और बेटर करने की जरूरत है, क्योंकि ऑलमोस्ट ट्रेनिंग तो सबके लिए ही बराबर होती है.
नहीं, कई बार स्पेशलाइज्ड ट्रेनिंग्स होती है. मैं उसकी बात कर रही थी कि जब कोई स्पेशल ट्रेनिंग आती है, स्पेशल मॉड्यूल आता है या ऐसी चीजें आती है, तो आई थिंक, आई मीन, डू यू एग्री कि देयर इज इक्वालिटी, वहां पे ऐसी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है?
ऐसी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, सेम टेक्नोलॉजी है वहां पे.
ठीक है, तो ये अच्छी बात है कि आपने कही है और ऐसा ही होना भी चाहिए. लेकिन और कोई ऐसी चीज जो आपको लगा कि टेक्नोलॉजी के थ्रू फिर अगर सबको मिल रही है तो टेक्नोलॉजी के थ्रू आप और बेहतर अपना काम कर पाएं और अपनी परफॉर्मेंस को और इम्प्रूव कर पाएं इन टर्म्स ऑफ हैंडलिंग योर ओन ड्यूटीज?
हाँ, ऐसा है. In 2013 the Ministry of Home Affairs उन्होंने तो टारगेट रखा था 33% इवन रिजर्वेशन का भी. Or in the police department recommended each police station have at least 3 women sub inspectors and 10 women constables, and to ensure women help desks are staffed all times. तो ऐसा भी है कि रिजर्वेशन भी होना चाहिए और
क्या
women
क्या
के लिए
और क्या क्या और होना चाहिए? शेख आदिल ने
और
टेक्नोलॉजी की बात की, तो आपको क्या लगता है कि और क्या क्या होना चाहिए? आप बात कर रही थी कि चलिए टेक्नोलॉजी
or
में भी
most of the police station in India don't have separate toilets for women constables. I think 2015 Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative study for documented the absence of toilets and other facilities and child care support in Indian police stations. हर police station में child care के लिए एक support होनी चाहिए. That's it.
बहुत बढ़िया. तो आपने कहा कि टॉयलेट्स, और बहुत वैलिड पॉइंट आपने ये रेज किया यहाँ पे उषा जी, की टॉयलेट्स जो है वो विमेन पुलिस ऑफिसर्स को भी, ये मैं आपको अपने एक्सपीरियंस से बता सकती हूँ. जब मैंने यहाँ पे कुछ विमेन पुलिस ऑफिसर्स से बात की है तो हमेशा ये बात एक समझ में आती है कि द नंबर ऑफ टॉयलेट्स विच आर बीइंग मेड ऑल ओवर द कंट्री, लेकिन खासकर बहुत सारे पुलिस स्टेशंस में अब जब महिलाएं जा रही हैं, काम कर रही हैं दिन रात, तो उनकी सुविधा के लिए, एंड दिस इज ऑफ कोर्स आल्सो फॉर शेख आदिल, टू for them to have at least these basic facilities is very important. Good toilet अवेलेबल देयर. कई बार होता है कि वो कॉमन होता है. मैं आपको खुद बता सकती हूँ कि पार्लियामेंट में अपने असाइनमेंट के लिए जब मैं गई तो वहां पर यूनिसेक्स था और टॉयलेट, और उसको हमने फिर महिला टॉयलेट अलग से बनवाया था, और ये 2009 की बात है. तो अभी भी बहुत जगह ये सुविधाएं होनी है. आपने चाइल्ड केयर की बात की कि भाई परिवार को बिल्कुल छोड़ के भी कैसे जाएं, हर बार वहां भी बहुत बार कॉन्फ्लिक्ट का सामना करना पड़ता है. So these things I think also are points to understand.
And
better.
ma'am, one more point is that not many police stations are headed by women police officers. ये एक और विडंबना है कि ज़्यादा police stations they are not headed by women police officers.
तो वो नंबर भी अभी कम है कि जहां पे वो हेड कर रही हूँ. और कई बार, और ये मैं तो एक दूसरे एंगल पे जरूर आऊंगी, क्योंकि हम लोग बहुत सारे ऐसे इश्यूज और केसेस से डील करते हैं कि जब महिलाएं जाती हैं तो कई बार, एंड दैट्स व्हाट वी आर आल्सो एडवोकेटिंग हियर, कि कई बार पुरुष में वो संवेदनशीलता नहीं आ पाती डिस्पाइट देयर एफर्ट्स, लेकिन बहुत बार वो ट्रेनिंग नहीं है खुद की, या बहुत सारे और अभी तक वो माइंडसेट वाली बात जो कंडीशनिंग अभी तक प्रिवेल करती है. तो महिलाओं को वो जब वो केसेस के लिए भी या वहां पे अपनी दरखास्त लेकर जाती हैं तो वो उनको सही तरीके से बिहेवियर नहीं मिलता है. और ये इसलिए भी ये पॉइंट,
most of our women police constables enter at a lowest rank and eventually retire at the same rank. Promotions का जो है only a few of them get 3 promotions in a career span of 35 years of their service.
नहीं, तो ये हौसला अफजाई भी जरूरी है. एज यू सेड द प्रमोशन, दीज आर द पॉइंट्स एक्चुअली. डॉक्टर आरती, व्हाट वुड यू से कि एक शुरुआत में, और बार बार हम बहुत बार इस बात की बात करते हैं कि जो हम एक पूरी पुलिस रिफॉर्म की मॉडर्नाइजेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन मॉडर्नाइजेशन में भी जैसे मैं ट्रेनिंग की बात कर रही थी, तो क्या उषा जी कह रही हैं कि सब तो समान ही मिलता है. व्हाट वुड यू से डॉक्टर आरती, हाउ women police officers can equip themselves much more to really handle those responsible positions. आप अपने मालेगांव की भी बात कर सकती हैं, जो एक जिसमें आपने किस तरह से हैंडल किया था. These become really case studies to understand कि responsibility के साथ साथ आप टफ एरियाज में अपने आप को किस तरह से ज्यादा equip कर सकती हैं to handle cases. You can talk about basically Malegaon, Dr. Aarti, and also some of these tough assignments that you handled, जिसमें कि डिस्पाइट, और ये मैं कहूंगी फिर से, हालांकि जैसे शेख आदिल कह रहे हैं कि जरूरत क्या है फिर कि उनको सपोर्ट की बात तो नहीं है, लेकिन फैसिलिटीज लॉजिस्टिक्स की बात तो हम जरूर करेंगे, जो सबके लिए भी होनी चाहिए, बट विमेन पुलिस ऑफिसर्स के लिए भी और जरूरत है. डॉक्टर आरती.
Yeah, certainly there are certain things which we need to take care when we are deploying women on duties. There are times where we are the women, along with male officers and men, they are deployed in remote areas, because if there is a VIP movement or a law and order in a village, around the village, so we deploy them all along the roads. Women are also deployed. when women are doing such duties, and our duties are such that you have to report, I mean, you have to be there for at least 6, 8, 10 hours. The basic question is, the toilet facilities. When it comes to men, uh, they can relieve themselves, but when it comes to women, and they are standing in the law and order duties on the roads uh, for long hours, that is something which you have to take care of. So for this, mobile toilet is something which we have started introducing, that whenever we are sending women along with men for such duties in those areas where you don't have access to the toilet, mobile toilet is one thing which is a matter of concern, and everyone must do it. So now what I have ensured is that when the women move out to areas where they have to do long duties and where you don't have access to the toilets, we place mobile toilets. And secondly, when it comes to the challenging jobs which which you just narrated, I feel, see, this is a very competitive world, and then you need to update yourself. Unless until you are updated with the knowledge, with the expertise, you won't be able to handle those assignments. So wherever I went, I updated myself according to what is required of me, and that knowledge expertise is required. You can't say keep the same old traditional knowledge of yours. You can carry on everywhere. Everyone needs to update himself or herself if you have to prove yourself. So this thing one has to take up. Keep updating, keep reading, keep acquiring expertise, and only we can handle these assignments.
Very, very good point again. Keep updating, keep upgrading, and should get equal opportunities, of course, which some of you agree that you're getting, which is very good news. And शेख आदिल ने जो अभी खासकर कहा कि सैनिटेशन की जो समस्या है वो उन्होंने जिस तरह से जो मेंस्ट्रुअल हाइजीन के लिए जिस तरह से लोगों ने दरख्वास्त भी की, एंड ही प्रोवाइडेड आल्सो सैनिटरी नैपकिन्स. तो ये चीजें जो है कि समझ पाए आप कि माहौल क्या है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दोज गिवन ऑर्डर्स, द गिवन रूल्स, यू गो एंड अंडरस्टैंड होलिस्टिकली. जैसे बहुत सारी स्कीम्स हैं जहाँ सिटीजन्स और पुलिस के बीच ट्रस्ट के लिए बहुत सारी स्कीम्स बनाई जाती हैं, बट आई थिंक कि ऐसी चीजें जब आप अपने अपने नॉलेज के हिसाब से, अपनी ट्रेनिंग के हिसाब से और ज्यादा कुछ कर पाते हैं और एक सर्कल ऑफ काइंडनेस बना पाते हैं, इन विच केस शेख आदिल एक्चुअली talk that walk, and we must appreciate those efforts also. शेख आदिल, कोई और ऐसे वाक्य, ऐसी बातें जो आप यहाँ पे कहना चाहेंगे कि जो कुछ और होना चाहिए, क्योंकि हम मॉडर्नाइजेशन की भी बात कर रहे हैं, so it's not only about that we are of course talking to women police officer trying to understand, but as even a male police officer, policing में आपको लगता है कि और क्या कुछ होना चाहिए?
Ma'am, I have not had a great deal of time in the field. I have been in the field since last 2.5 years only. And among that, from that time, half of my time has been in the UT's counterinsurgency wing, that is the operations. I have spent almost more than a year there. Then I was just Deputy SP Security for around a year, and almost 6 to 7 months here in the traffic wing. Though I have worked as a SHO Udhampur in my probation, so the field experience in terms of crime, if you ask me, I won't be as experienced as the other panelists on board today. And there are many things that I learned from them, but at the same time, a few things that I feel are still lacking in our policing system. And we have a very important role in the criminal justice system, and the level of the level of efforts and energy that we put in. I mean, I feel very bad when in the end it goes waste. If you see, I'm not sure whether it's more than 5% or so. When we go to the courts with our cases, every crime has one or the other technological component attached to it. The problem with our investigation is that we are not able to exploit that technological component, even if it's a mobile phone. even if we seize a mobile phone from the scene of crime, it is not admissible in the court of law as an evidence until and unless we do some basic technological procedures that are needed to be done, like hashtagging, cloning, whatever. There are many things, and that is another topic itself. I mean, the training in these basic things has been lacking. And in our police stations, we have seen that people who are not technology friendly, who are not okay with the use of technology, most of the police stations are run by those people. So I had a proposal in my mind. I mean, I never actually tabled it before anybody, but this was in my mind that we should have a separate force, a separate lot of police officers, which have specific qualifications in science and technology, whose services, whose expertise, whose knowledge can be used for the efficient investigation of cases. Because at the end of the day, you see the conviction rate is almost less than 5%. I mean, that's a shameful figure. When you go to the courts, you are such a force of. That's not only here in Kashmir or J&K. That's true for every part of India. Even when I talk of the police force in Kashmir, we are already overburdened. I mean, you have an important role in the criminal justice system. VIP security is another burden that you have to carry on your shoulders. Verification, character verification, antecedent verification, law and order is one of the main focuses of the police stations. And police stations are at the cutting edge level of the policing and governance in our part. And information gathering, intelligence gathering, counterinsurgency again forms a very important part of your focus. So we are already overburdened, and then to make the investigation procedure and process effective, this is one of the most important things that we should commission and incorporate. That technology-friendly policing and the use and commissioning of technology into the policing is very important.
Very, very important, as you rightly said. And also, I would add, of course, Sheikh Adil here, that the sensitivity also is very important. And I think now, when we're talking about gender sensitization, and I'm sure you'll agree here that if the male police officer, not because he's not willing to, but if he understands things much better, then he can really, really deliver much better in terms of, reaching out with a more human hand, not only, let's say, in COVID-19, but also when one deals with cases of sensitive nature, especially when dealing with women, sometimes who have problems in even how to narrate their own cases, to reach out, and how to even go about those cases inside a police station. And I think that's something is also very, very important. And of course, we are talking about it, it is happening also, but I think more needs to be done so that all these cases of crime that we hear and read about, or which is happening around us against women, can be mitigated and upon. That is another thing. Usha ji, what would you say that how gender sensitization also programs would really matter much? I mean, right now it's happening. Right now there is a need in every sector, I think, so that women are understood better, because that women have problems, but they don't talk about it. If they talk about it, they don't know where to go and how to deal with it. So, Usha ji, any thoughts that you'd like to share?
Ma'am, I will suggest every woman to make hue and cry in the redressal of their grievances. I do feel that some of girls and ladies feel shy making complaints against any crime committed with them, but they should not feel shy. They should come forward for their right and to teach lesson to the miscreants. उनको आगे आना चाहिए और उनको बताना चाहिए अपने जो भी उनके साथ कुछ गलत हो रहा है, and they should not feel shy.
आगे आती हैं उषा जी, तो उनको मुश्किल ये आती है कि उनको समझने में मुश्किल आती है कि वो अपनी बात को ना बता पाए. हो सकता है रूरल एरिया से आ रही हूँ, हो सकता है उनकी और कोई सोशल लिमिटेशन हो, तो उनको फिर फैसिलिटेट कैसे किया जाए, नॉट ओनली बाय पुलिस ऑफिसर, बट आई मीन जेंडर की यहाँ पे
उसके लिए विमेन पुलिस ऑफिसर्स हैं, विमेन पुलिस कांस्टेबल्स हैं, और अभी जरूरत है और विमेन बटालियंस को रेज करने की और वुमेन को अपॉइंट करने की, सो दैट जो फार फ्लंग एरियाज है जहाँ पे ऐसी लेडीज को प्रॉब्लम्स आती हैं, अपना जो उनका है प्रॉब्लम्स है उनको रखने में, तो दे कैन कम फ्रीली people. And
ठीक है, तो अब बीच में कुछ क्वेश्चन, कुछ सवाल लेने का भी समय, and I would now request my team और सपना, if somebody has a question, जो हमारे participants हैं, and I must say कि some of them, जैसा शेख आदिल ने कहा, भी कुछ सीनियर्स भी आपके मुझे बताया गया था, कि सीनियर्स भी ज्वाइन करेंगे तो वो भी हैं, but anybody regardless of who it is can pose a question, because these are three very eminent people here who are not only handling their duties, but you know there has to be this interface, and that's where we are at Her World to create that dialogue. तो आप अपने सवाल पूछ सकते हैं अगर आप पूछना चाहें. Snehi and Sapna. Anybody has a question? Yeah.
Hello.
Okay.
Hope you can hear me. This is Rohit.
Okay.
This is Rohit, and I'm a law student and also a policy researcher. So
Okay,
my
Rohit.
question is, it is often construed that the entire policing structure or criminal justice system is total work of the within. It's executives who have to frame the policies. It's executives who have to implement them. But as far as understanding of policy goes, it is often said that the entire policy making must be put in the landscape of people. People must give recommendations. People must tell what they really want. People must monitor these measures. So, how do you think, in order to change the justice system or enhance the policing system, how do you
I mean, whatever can be done. Okay. So now, I don't know what visuals. Just let's go to Ishrat also next, and let's talk to Ishrat about her question. But Dr. Aarti, would you like to answer?
Sorry, I couldn't get the question because the voice.
Yeah, I mean, I could not get the full question myself, but what I could understand is he was saying how at the policy level, and in the whole policing system, if there is some framework which needs to be looked at with more elements coming in. I think that was the whole vein of the question, if I get it right.
Yes, but things are changing. When we had the laws, the entire policing system works on three basic laws: the Indian Penal Code and the Criminal Procedure Code and the Indian Evidence Act. Now, these laws are of the British times and recently, just after we got independence. But now, since it's like it's almost we are going to have a century. It's being close to a century since the independence. We have received independence. We are working on the reforms, and probably every state and at the central level, we are all working on changing this, the criminal justice system and the reforms in the police. There's a body which is working on it, and we are implementing it, executing it. And there is a research and development wing in every state as well as at the center, which then collates all this data, comes up with new ideas, and we keep modifying ourselves, because as I told you, we with the changing world, changing scenario, the policing can't be outdated. The outdated policing will not work anymore. So yes, reforms are there in the police and they are working very well. And again, based on the experiences with the new ideas and the new laws, we keep on researching and executing new laws.
That's a good point again. I think more research, and I think a couple of points. What Sheikh Adil said, that technology is very important. What you said, that in the ambit of reforms, upgradation of one's own knowledge and research is also very important. Science and technology makes a very important contribution, which again Sheikh Adil said, and of course gender sensitization and more women police. Heading thanas, as Ushaji says. So these are some very important points. Any other question that somebody wants to ask? Ishrat, of course, is from Jammu and Kashmir, somebody who's a very active, individual there, who she I think juggles with multiple tasks. I met her recently there in the region, and Ishrat has, I think, some question to ask. If you're there, Ishrat, then please go ahead with your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, but it seems a little. I think there is something she's writing. Unable to unmute, ma'am. I don't know why. Can you write your question?
Actually, I think the host must have muted.
Ishrat ma'am, now you can try unmuting yourself. I have given you the.
It's always our 2G problem, now.
I can see you.
It's always our 2G problem.
इशरत आपके यहाँ पे 2 माइक चल रहे हैं आपके
Am I
यहाँ
audible?
आप एक को बंद करिए तब ये चलेगा इशरत आप एक कनेक्शन बंद करिए तब ये आवाज ठीक चलेगी
Dr. Ashok Bhan, welcome. And आपकी बुलंद आवाज हमको सुनाई दे रही. Thank you for joining us.
Ma'am,
Okay.
also Dr. Nanda ma'am is also here.
Okay, fine. So now I think when Dr. Nanda is here, and let me announce her presence here. Dr. Vijaya Lakshmi Nanda is right now the acting principal of Miranda House College. Somebody who is very passionate about social issues, especially issues of gender equality, apart from teaching for a very long time. So I welcome you here, Dr. Nanda. And if there is any thought that you'd like to share here, please go ahead.
Thank you, Rakhi and her world, for this amazing, discussion that you have had today. I really look forward to the Saturday discussions, and I think some of the points that have been put forward by all the officers who are here. I mean, Dr. Aarti Singh, I especially agree with some of the points that you have made. I think one of the larger questions that we have to address now is there are two things here. One is bringing in more women into the police force, and motivating women to join the police force, and making the police force far more gender sensitive. I think these are the three things that we have to look at. It's not just about, and when we say making the police force more gender sensitive, we do not mean only about men. We definitely mean about both women and men, right? I think gender sensitivity on both sides, so that they are sensitive to the complainant or anybody else who's coming in. So creating friendly police stations, and I would like to share here a very interesting, kind of an experience, or rather a learning that I have developed from a young woman who in Gurgaon who is working on child sexual abuse, and she has created these child-friendly spaces within police stations called Fulwari, where young children who are accompanying their parents come to the police stations. So, creating gender sensitivity is about creating a lovely space which is enabling for everyone who enters into that space. So if we enter into a police station as knowing that there are people to help us, in the West, they use a concept of having coffee with a cop. So how can we make these spaces, which are generally seen as fear, spaces of fear? People are scared to enter it. Now you have a woman, the women's help desk is there. You also have a civil society group joining that. But can we have these spaces open up for all of us? Is there a way in which we can make them more friendly? Through the college, what we have been trying to do is to make visits to police stations by students as a mandatory requirement of certain courses, like the course on law, your laws, your rights. We make it mandatory that they visit, that they become a part, and the experience of the neighborhood police station becomes an experience which they celebrate. They get to understand how the cop works, how the police officer also has a very heavy work day, how they are delivering, and what are the kind of obstacles they also face. So I think the empathy on both sides is important. And when we create a space of empathy, of equality, it becomes sensitive to everyone. So while we are looking at washrooms, and that many of those things have already happened in certain areas, I'm noticing. But creating child-friendly spaces, creating spaces where, we all become humanized to a large extent. These are spaces where it is difficult in one sense, but at the same time, it is a space where we can be humanized, because after all, what are prisons? They are basically supposed to be reform systems. And I think the police works more on prevention of crime rather than just on punishment. So these kind of, I don't know whether I'm making sense here, but this is my point. My point is that there has to be a larger, more humane approach to the people in the uniform, from the side of the citizenry, with which side we are sitting, and also from within, like within, that they understand each other. And gender is not the only intersectionality. There are class intersectionalities, there are caste, there are other forms of community. How do you delve into all of that? And having said that, I think it's a tough job. It's very inspiring to see the, your resource persons here. I wish them all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nanda. I think you've said it all. I mean, in a very, very short time. And I think all those points are very critical and important. And I think the word that I take from here, the key word is making friendly police stations. So one walks in there, whether it's a child or whether it's, as you said, regardless of class and community, goes with confidence, and not only goes there with confidence, but even when police, for example, on streets, I mean, in situations like, for example, in COVID-19, we saw that interface on streets. So when the police comes out, then in what manner and how police reaches out to citizens, I think this whole idea of confidence and trust is something which is very crucial. And that's the whole essence that you're also talking about. We have questions. I think I would also like to go to Dr. Bhan, because Dr. Bhan, of course, as of course, police officers from J&K would really understand more, but also others. And I have the privilege of knowing him for a long time, of a police officer who stood not only for his duty with almost utmost perfection, but also somebody who believed in these human things. So he's worked on policies. He looks at things with an academic perspective. I really welcome you, Dr. Ashok Bhan, to this show. Any question, any thought that you would like to share?
Thank you, Rakhi. And now that you have given me this opportunity to be part of this, listening to my young colleagues, it's like a whiff of fresh air. What Aarti, Adil, and Usha were narrating, and I'm very happy to hear what they have been doing, and it has been a learning experience for me, let me say. I would sum up 3 takeaways that I get from what these 3 young men and women have told us. One is that, and the most important, the principal also mentioned about it, that we have to realize that 50% women have to come into the workforce. They are 50% of the population. So whether it is police, whether it is army, gradually the numbers have to go up. And everyone has to facilitate this change and transformation, not only in numbers, but also in content and quality. So we must understand this, the population is 50%. So we cannot hold them back for very long. Second, the government efforts in any pandemic, in any disasters is never going to be good enough. So therefore, people like Adil, officers like Aarti, you have to have the support of the community, and you have to seek the support of the community, and community will support you only when they have confidence in you. And it is this confidence that you have to develop, that community can come forward and voluntarily contribute in dealing with such situations like the COVID or any disasters. So we have to work together with the community. And the last point that I gather from what you said is that, you see, the scientific temper in the policing. We are far behind the West. Maybe some of the states, Maharashtra is very good. Tamil Nadu may be very good. My friend Sivanandan keeps on telling me about the scientific things they have in their state. But generally speaking, the country, as far as policing, scientific aids in policing is concerned, we're not made full use of them. We are not so well trained. And I think a thrust must be given in that arena, whether it is male police person or women. So to them both, we have to give a push in scientific aids. Thank you very much. And I'm very happy to be part of this. And I enjoyed hearing the three young police officers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you.
Bhan. Thank you so much. And I think your expertise and the kind of thoughts you've shared, I think goes a long way in understanding things better. And as it always has been, especially I can talk about myself, that though I've been reporting in that area, I could learn a lot from people like you. So thank you so very much. Any other question coming in? Ishrat, of course, you've been trying to join in. I don't know whether
Yeah. Hello, Rakhi. Hello, everyone.
you...
It's always our 2G problem, na? More with me. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. You can ask your question, Ishrat.
Actually, we in the whole discussion there we got some points about women. Hello.
जी हाँ पूछिए आप हाँ.
Yeah, domestic violence के बारे में कुछ बातें उठी इधर. So my point is for Usha ji and Aarti ji. Actually, na, it gives me immense pleasure to see women on lead. I think that is the only solution for get rid from this long-term disease, domestic violence. So I have a point for you. You know, when women see like you on lead, they get more expectation, like encouraging.
What is your expectation though? I mean, Ishrat, if you can also throw a little more light, what do we expect?
It's about जब देखते हैं कि कोई women है lead कर रही है तो उनकी expectation बढ़ जाती है. So according to me, the way I'm working on women empowerment is the only solution to get rid from this long-term disease, domestic violence. According to me, only solution to encourage our sisters who is suffering from violence, empower them, encourage them, like women like you, Aarti ji and Usha ji. ऐसी जब होती है women lead पे तो वही हमें सिखाती है, उनको इतना motivate करती है कि वो अपने लिए कैसे लड़ सकती है.
So I think that idea of women actually feeling more confident, when they think that there are women at the high positions and what they are saying or trying to make others understand is being understood well. I think that is one inner confidence, and I think that goes. Of course, there is no gender bias, but I think it gives them an extra thread of confidence, so to say. So thank you so much, Ishradi. Any other question coming in from anybody else? My own team member.
Actually, I want to thank to Adil ji. Not only Ishrat want to thank, actually whole Kashmir wants to thank him. It's extremely thankful for everything that you do. Actually, we got thank you. It's many बोल रहे हो ये हर कोई कश्मीरी बोल रहा है actually. You are every effort. We can't think of an officer more resolute, upfront, and kind than you. People are so grateful, so grateful.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's so heartening to hear also on this show that we've got you, Sheikh Adil, who's and look at this feeling that comes from a citizen of the valley. And I think Ishrat talks about and takes the sentiment of so many across when she says that the whole of Kashmir is thankful to you. And so are we, that you are not only doing your job, but you also decided to join us on the show and share that. Thank you so very much for all that you do, Sheikh Adil. Any other question? I think Vikas Pandey from my own team who had a question. Vikasji, you can ask your question. पूछ सकते हैं आप. Vikasji.
Yeah. I wanted to ask this question directly to Aarti ma'am. Ma'am, my question is, why is it that even with the increased gender balance, we still fear the police rather than feeling protected? Talking to the panel today give us a confidence that they are reachable and available, but the same feeling we still do not get in the police station that are available within our reach. Is there a plan to improve and make this relationship more friendly?
I hope, Dr. Aarti, you got that question, that how do they get more confident when they reach the police station, how a common citizen feels that he or she is being heard properly and his or her case is being taken up properly.
Definitely, this is something it's been there since ages that people actually rather fear police. And we are now, for the past these 10 years, we are not focusing on changing this perception and this image of the police. There are many training programs which we give to all the constabulary. See, because the constabulary of ours is the first line, as the ground level staff who is interacting with the public, and interaction with the constabulary makes or mars the image of police. So we are focusing on giving soft skills training to the constabulary who is sitting in the police station. So we also have given a feedback form to the visitors who come to the police station, whether they were attended well, whether their grievance was exactly heard in the way they wanted to give it, and whether there was a time delay or they were quickly addressed. So all these things now is the focus of not only one particular state but throughout the country. Because throughout the country, we are working on improving the image of the police. And there are many other things which we are doing to do this, to have this continuously engagement with the public. So we take corner meetings. It's not that you come to the police station and make an image. We our outreach to the public, we are increasing by, we have instituted, every state has instituted their own concepts, like mobile vans where you can go to the doorstep, hear their grievances, you can have a FIR register over there, or online complaint system, so that you don't come to the police station for registering your FIR or your complaint. And then we take corner meetings where the entire police station staff that goes into the localities and hears addresses to the grievances. So all these things are now probably working well, but yes, we still have to go a long way in improving our image. I would also request through this platform that the movies, now the earlier movies, that like nowadays some movies are actually glorifying and improving the police image, but earlier, like some of the movies where had been portraying police in a very negative sense. But yes, now there are movies, some of the movies had come up where police was shown doing a very brilliant job. And especially this pandemic, probably this pandemic, everybody would agree that in this pandemic, the kind of work which the police department has done in the entire country has gone a long way to improve the image of the police. Because this was a situation where everybody was scared, nobody was coming out, and ours is such a job, a tough job, where we had to be out on the fields, helping everyone out, be it helping the migrants to go back to their native villages from the metros, distributing food, rescuing them, taking them to the hospitals. The police had been in this pandemic, had been doing, apart from policing, had been doing every other thing under the sun.
Okay. Okay. So that was a good point that you raised, Dr. Aarti. And can we go to also now Sheikh Adil and ask him, talking about these perceptions, talking about the mass media and the media. Sheikh Adil, as Dr. Aarti was saying, how let's say police personnel are shown also. So whether in serials or movies, what would you say the depiction right now? For example, if there is a woman police officer, she's shown now to be very extra dabang, and also the male police officer. In fact, some of the movies have been made like that. What would you say about those, the display of characters of police personnel? How would you look at that, Sheikh Adil?
Definitely, I would appreciate if something of that sort comes from the Bollywood, where I would see the female counterpart of the Dabang, or what was the other one, that Chulbul Pandey or Singham. We see them in the women actresses of the Bollywood. I would definitely appreciate that. I mean, times should change. And I once again denounce the stereotyping that we have fallen prey to over a period of time.
Very, very good point. The stereotypical, I think, images or stereotypical talks should really go out. As we're talking about police reforms, the outdated things also should be really outdated, and there should be new ideas, new elements of modernizing techniques that should come in. Of course, we're also talking about all those, infrastructural that comes to the police personnel, whether it's about equipments, whether they are given modern weapons to use, the tools. The technology, as you said, is one of the best tools that can be given now in the present time. And for that, I'm sure that
Sorry to interrupt you. Would you like to have a look of the wall of kindness? It's just outside my office.
please go ahead, do that.
I'm taking you there. Yes. Till then, you can continue.
Yeah. So basically, we are talking about all those techniques of modern ID. When we are talking about police reforms also, since we've got these 3 police officers that should be really considered, it's high time because that's how, sometimes through media reports, all these cases get highlighted and which are real also, but sometimes if the police is also understood much better and facilitated, I think there can come a situation of win-win situation, coming to each other in a more friendly manner, and which will only happen if policies are worked upon. So there are policies, there are papers which have been presented by intellectuals, by senior police personnel. There have been committees, but people have to work on those things, and that's how we can really be more forward-looking as far as policing is concerned. So wall of kindness is what we are also waiting for. Do we have a sense of wall of kindness now, Sheikh Adil? On my screen, I see Sneh.
Through wall of kindness, Adil.
Okay. Is this the okay? Yeah. So, I mean, is Sheikh Adil, are you also there to explain things to us?
I'm here, ma'am. You can ask whatever you want to.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the one. Is this the one?
Yeah, this is the one.
Okay. And I think this is for our viewers and participants. Just see, those visuals that have been displayed here. Okay, all these products that we see here.
And well, I would like to tell you one thing. Most of the things that I've kept here, I mean, they're not only used. I mean, you can look at these things. These are brand new.
Okay. Okay. So this is also, yeah, this is also for the people, and I'm sure people who are watching it on other platforms will understand that how much effort has gone into providing these things. I'm personally very delighted to see this because this is really
This
going
is
on.
beautiful. This is a very beautiful initiative. This is very beautiful initiative.
Yes, Dr. Nanda,
It is
because
something we can also try to do. I think all of us can be inspired by this. Thank you very much.
Rakhi?
Exactly. I mean, this is a wall of kindness, but at a time that we have to really support education, especially girl education. I think some of these ideas can be, looked at and kind of exchanged amidst us also. And we at Her World are very open to these ideas in terms of supporting, facilitating as a medium.
Yeah. Actually, Rakhi, I want to mention here something. Recently, I was on my way to home from Baramulla, and one elderly woman stops my car and asks for lift. I said, "Where do you want to go?" Well, I want to go World of Kindness. I can't afford things. I want to take something from there. And she was blah, blah. She knows about Adilji. So I take her and drop her, and it was
my only suggestion to you, Sheikh Adil, would be hearing from others is that it should be called a bridge of kindness because it's not it's not, I mean, the literal sense. It is really coming out to help, to reach out to people, and that's what these are hands of humanity, as we say.
And one more thing, ma'am. Though I don't know Ishrat ma'am much, but she has given us a lot of opportunities during the.
Okay, that's nice.
And I have forwarded many contacts to him, and after 24 hours, and he replied back, "Yes, helped. We reached them."
I think Dr. Aarti, who's in Maharashtra, you must be also glad, Dr. Aarti, to hear these stories from Jammu and Kashmir, from where people.
Actually, in Jammu and Kashmir, the police has very impacted role. It is already disturbed state, disturbed hearts, I will say, mentioned here. disturbed life, police has impacted, very impressive role. And Adil ji has proved that, yes, we can change this. We can change youth's state of mind. We can change their ambitious.
Okay. Yeah. Any other question coming in from anyone else right now? Because then it's time to wrap up. We've taken a lot of time from our speakers. Any other questions? We can just take that. Mohit is there. Okay, so Mohit is thanking and his blessing. Mohit Saad has joined us, and he's also somebody who's always encouraged us. Thank you so much, Mohit.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Ma'am, sorry for the inconvenience as we live in the 2G world still in the JNK. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be the part of this discussion. Yeah. First of all, I want to thank Adil sir, who helped a lot during the COVID times. And they have done a tremendous job. Thank you, Adil sir.
Thank you, sir.
My question is that in Kashmir, I think the women officers, police officers in the police department is very low in number. And if we see the girls and the women suffer a lot, not only in the main city, Srinagar, also in the villages and the far-flung areas. If you talk about the social issues like domestic violence with the women, cybercrime, or the social media bullying, girls are always scared to raise their voice against this. According to me, there is a need to set up a grievance cell in each village and far-flung areas of Kashmir. I live in Ashmukam, Pahalgam. It's also a small village. Here the people, mostly the girls, are not aware about their rights and what they have to do to raise their voice against the things or the social issues. So I hope there should be a number cell or the women police department cell in each place in Kashmir, especially in the village areas, which will help the girls to talk freely. And also one more thing I want to add here that we know that Srinagar is the main place in Kashmir. But we have to take the village, we have not neglect the village level areas and the people and the girls who live there who are not aware about their rights. We need to help the girls to aware about their rights in each part of the Kashmir and also so that they can be the fearless in terms of raising their voice against the injustice. And I think in village level we lack this type of facility like women grievance cell. We have not think about the main cities like the main areas of Kashmir. We have to take the village levels and the villages also to think that the girls, because I live in a village here, the girls are not aware, fully much aware. They scared to raise their voice against anything, any say, social issue. So this is my point. I hope it will be addressed.
Very nice of you to ask this question actually, because you were talking not only about yourself, but I mean, you're talking about this whole idea of how girls in rural areas, especially in Jammu and Kashmir, can be facilitated. Sheikh Adil, I think you can answer this question, or Usha ji also later, as to how this idea of cell in each police station, as she's talking about, or maybe how women should be understood better, can be looked at. Sheikh Adil, any idea you would like to throw on? And also, yes. Dr. Aarti has appreciated this wall of kindness, and she has really thanked you and the whole idea to be there as it is in presence.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. See, Ishrat has raised a very valid point here that justice delivery will have to realign and reorient itself so that it becomes woman-friendly. Because when it comes to be at the receiving end of the things, women folk, I mean, they fall prey to the violence on a daily basis that we know we have been talking of, the domestic violence which has especially taken place during this pandemic crisis. But at the same time, I'll tell you that I would like to apprise her that we are already on that trajectory and curve. we have women police stations in almost every district of the valley. I'll talk of valley. While I was in Jammu, we definitely had women police stations in Jammu province also. I was SHO Udhampur. We had a subsidiary this police station with us, that was the women's police station, which was working under my supervision. So it was there also. The problem is in the awareness. Our women folk doesn't know that where to go, what to do, and what are their rights in case they fall prey to any kind of violence, harassment, or molestation. She seems to be interested in this dimension of our society, that is the awareness of women vis-a-vis their rights. If she takes the lead, I'm here. I'm telling you, this medium, I'm telling her that we will provide any kind of help and assistance that she wants. If she wants to conduct any kind of awareness camps, these lectures in the colleges, schools, we will offer every kind of support that she wants. But all said and done, I also accept her point that yes, we are lacking behind in this side of our society. Our society is not it is not as mature as it should be, and has not evolved to that level. I mean, I told you that institutions are just a reflection of our society. We are still in a phase of evolution. As a society, we have not matured. I'm telling you, if you see that a police officer is corrupt today, you see a magistrate is corrupt, a doctor is corrupt, that is because there are some roots of corruption in your society. I mean, just imagine at one point in time, even Ishrat would have been young, and someday her father's friend came to visit her father, and her father was not in the mood to meet him. And he asked Ishrat to go and open the door and tell him that I'm not home. She goes, it was her first time, opens the door and tells him that Papa is telling I'm not home. So when she comes back, she tells it to her father that I've told him that you had asked me to convey it to him that you were not home. And he says, what have you done? I mean, though she was doing a dishonest task, but she was trying to accomplish it honestly. And the next time she's caught in the same situation, she tries, to do everything so that her father is satisfied about her performance. At the door, she opens the door, tells her father's friend that he has left in the morning. I don't know when he will return back. The phones are switched off. Mama has no idea where he is. And the moment she accomplishes this task, she's in a hurry to reach to her father and convey it to him. Yes, this time. And when she conveys, she gets a pat on the back. ऐसे मैंने बोला था. पिछली बार आपने गलत किया था. So this is how tomorrow she becomes a doctor. So what are the ethos that we have instilled in her while she was in a growing state of her life? So as a society, we need to understand that where are we going wrong? At the institutional level, that is a superficial approach. When you try to address these problems at the institutional level, that's a very superficial approach, and that's not going to reap us enough results, and that we have seen how we have failed. If we have to find a result, we have to deal with it at the societal level.
Very, very valid point. Again, you really looked at, and you're talking about Sheikh Adil, and you are talking about the real steps taken as far as looking at institutions and how they function. Thank you so much for these ideas. And I think each of your views, each of the speakers and their views really become notes for us. And I'm sure some of the authorities will really look at it. Dr. Vijay Lakshminanda has called the discussion very nuanced and has thanked all of you, all the three speakers, for sharing your ideas. And I think, since we work together, Harwald and Miranda, we'll look at some of these points as to how we can work on further on these things, involve many of these ideas, suggestions, discussions, and people like you to bring about positive change in the society. उषा जी, आपसे अब एक दरख्वास्त है जो मुझे पता चला था, मैंने शुरू में कहा था कि अब हम थोड़ा सा लाइट करते हैं मूड को, और क्यों ना आपसे थोड़ी सी हम थोड़े से गाने सुनते हैं. हमने सुना है कि आप एक अच्छी सिंगर भी हैं, तो क्यों ना थोड़ी सी आपकी मधुर आवाज सुने, और गाने के साथ ही और मे भी एक दो सवालों के साथ हम एंड करें इस शो. उषा जी, ओवर टू यू नाउ फॉर योर सिंगिंग.
मैम, इट्स अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टास्क मेरे लिए इस टाइम गाना.
हमारे शो एक बहुत ही अच्छा सा मुकाम देगा, जहाँ पे हम ये भी देखते हैं कि जो टैलेंट है वो आप पुलिस ऑफिसर्स में भी उतना ही है. कभी कभी हमें देखने को मिलता है, वी सी इट इन सम इवेंट्स, वी सी समटाइम्स इन सम गेट टुगेदर्स, बट बहुत अच्छा लगता है बिकॉज आफ्टर ऑल यू ऑल आर ऑल्सो ह्यूमन बीइंग. तो अब आपके गाने सुनने के लिए हम तैयार हैं.
थैंक यू मैम. ए मेरे प्यारे वतन, ए मेरे बिछड़े चमन, तुझ पे दिल कुर्बान, तू ही मेरी आरज़ू, तू ही मेरी आबरू, तू ही मेरी जान। तेरे दामन से जो आए उन हवाओं को सलाम, चूम लूं मैं उस जुबान को जिस पे आए तेरा नाम, सबसे रंगी सुबह तेरी, सबसे रंगी तेरी शाम, तुझ पे दिल कुर्बान। माँ का दिल बनके कभी सीने से लग जाता है तू, और कभी नन्ही सी बेटी बनके याद आता है तू, जितना याद आता है मुझको उतना तड़पाता है तू, तुझ पे दिल कुर्बान, तू ही मेरी आरज़ू, तू ही मेरी आबरू, तू ही मेरी जान। ए मेरे प्यारे वतन, ए मेरे बिछड़े चमन, तुझ पे दिल कुर्बान, तुझ पे दिल कुर्बान, तुझ पे दिल कुर्बान।
ब्यूटीफुल एंड आउटस्टैंडिंग उषा जी, और अभी तो फिलहाल हम आप पे कुर्बान सब लोग हो
Thank you. Thank you so
what
much.
a rendition, what a powerful rendition, and what a beautiful melodious voice, and what talent you have. I mean, salute to you. बहुत बहुत
Thank you.
शुक्रिया ये इस गाने को हमारे सामने रखने के लिए। न सिर्फ गाना ये गाना था, बल्कि बहुत सारे जज्बे को लिए हुए हमारे सामने आया था, और it shows too many dimensions. It shows that how you know how police can be so human, how Usha ji, you have that kind of talent, and how we should also try and explore that aspect as well. Dr. Aarti, I would like to come to you, and these are just last wrapping up words. Any message now to a lot of young people, young women who would like to join police?
Yes, through your platform, I would like to convey all young women and girls that you must have a dream and cherish your dream and work very hard to achieve your dream. Today's world is very different from the previous world. Now, whatever you think up, whatever you look up to, you would become, provided you get the perfect guidance and you have the perseverance and dedication and the hard work to do it. Nothing in this world is beyond your reach.
Thank you so very much. और अब चूंकि उषा जी ने गाना गाया है, आरती जी, तो what are the hobbies that you have, or what if you're not policing, what do you do?
I have a degree in Bharatnatyam. I have been pursuing.
Wow, let's see this. We have such talent here. Salute.
Big salute to Aarti ma'am.
For that, we'll have a different concert organized by us. Then we have to look at her performance, Dr. Aarti. So here you have a police officer who's a singer. You have a city police officer who's a Bharatnatyam dancer. What a beautiful, I think, melange. I'm very delighted personally to have this kind of bouquet present here in terms of the resource. And Sheikh Adil, who brings in that, a very interesting concept, which is again very creative and artistic. Sheikh Adil, aapki last message for all those boys and girls who would like to be in police?
Before I give my message to those people, I would like to thank Mr. Ashok Ban. मैं आपसे बताऊं कि मेरी दिल की तमन्ना थी कि मैं कभी इनसे मुलाकात करूं. If anybody here watching us doesn't know Ban Sahab is, if I'm right, 76 batch IPS officer. He retired as the DGP of police in J&K, and then he was appointed as the National Security Council Board. If I'm right, sir.
Yes.
And I'm very fortunate. That I got a chance here कि आज इनके सामने मैं कुछ बातें बोलूं. And equally unfortunate कि इनके leadership में मैं काम नहीं कर पाया. मतलब ये मेरे को एक बहुत अफसोस रहेगा. He's the kind of officer that I would have always wanted to work with, तो नहीं, जिनकी leadership के अंडर मैं काम करता. मैं आपको बता दूं, it is not because that ये हमारे पुलिस ऑफिसर रहे हैं और बोस्टिंग में करता नहीं, फ्लैटरिंग में करता नहीं, किसी चीज में भी. जो हमारी जर्नी J&K पुलिस की रही है, जो आप जिस करंट शेप में आप J&K पुलिस को देखते हैं, जो बान साहब का उसमें रोल रहा है, his contribution is unfathomable and at the same time it cannot be put in words. ये अगर आपको मेरी जुबान पे कोई शक हो तो आप किसी से भी इस बारे में पूछ सकते हैं.
I would absolutely.
मैंने सर के लीडरशिप पे काम किया है, and he was so honest and dedicated officer, a very decorated officer. I was very fortunate कि I was working under Dr. Ban sir.
जब मैं एकेडमी में पहले गया था, when I entered the academy, ma'am, that was my first experience किसी पुलिस के इंस्टीट्यूशन में जाने का. The academy was the first experience. So when I entered there, so Ban Sahab has remained the director of the Sher-e-Kashmir Police Academy for a considerable period of time. So
I had the chance, Sheikh Adil, to go there once as a journalist and also conduct an orientation program where I talked to some young police officers. That was courtesy Dr. Ban. So
that was the first time that अपने वालिद के मुंह से इनका नाम सुनने के बाद वो पहला वक्त वो था कि जब मैंने एकेडमी में इनका नाम सुना. तो मैं ये दिस इज नॉट द राइट प्लेटफॉर्म, अदरवाइज बान साहब मेरे वालिद को भी अच्छी तरह से जानते हैं. ही वाज अ स्पोर्ट्स ऑफिसर इन बारामूला, तो काफी एक्टिव रहे हैं वो इनके दौर में भी. सो आई एम वंस अगेन, मैं बहुत तहे दिल से आपका शुक्रगुजार हूं सर कि आपने हमें सुना, हमने क्या बोला, और आपके यहाँ रहने से जो प्रेजेंस, जितनी वार्मथ हमें मिली, I cannot explain that.
Thank you very much, Adil. I'm very glad. I'm very happy that you are prospering, and I am very happy to see that wall. And I am equally happy with what Aarti is doing, and Usha, I know for so many years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Bhan, again. And Dr. Bhan actually through IPA J&K branch also, मुझे भी एक अवसर और मिला था जब मैं गई थी, और it's always great idea, as you say, Sheikh Adil, to learn from him. And I think on Her World show today, I would like to put it here that it's also very beautiful, not only exchange of ideas, but the fact that you have all kinds of people here. Whether they are senior, they are veterans. For example, Dr. Aarti, who's a commissioner of police, senior. You, Sheikh Adil, you're managing your duties so well. Usha ji, but यहाँ हमने सबको एक बहुत ही एक साथ एक idea of unity, democracy और एक idea of togetherness के साथ में लाया है और रखा है, और हम सब इसमें join हुए हैं. I think this is the spirit that we all have to take as citizens, as police officer, or as professionals in any other sector as well. Especially in COVID-19, जिस तरह की wall of kindness आपने बनाई है, उसके बारे में हमने जो बताया हर वर्ल्ड के माध्यम से, उसको हम अपना privilege मानते हैं यहाँ पर. Dr. Usha Kher, you bring a lot of softness and humanity. Even and
Thank
both
you.
of us would agree. जो गाना आपने गाया है और जो सोच आपकी है, उसको आप आगे बढ़ाएं.
Thank you so much.
Sheikh Adil, I think people expect a lot from you when you do good work. So I'm sure you'll take ahead that journey and that jazba with full force again. And Dr. Aarti, your leadership, you're a role model for many. You've reached that top position, and I can tell you, I understand the kind of hurdles which you've not actually talked about, many of these, Dr. Aarti, but जो आपने भी किए होंगे, and आप लेकिन इतना ज़्यादा तवज्जो नहीं दे रही हैं, but आप बात कर रही हैं success की, आप बात कर रही हैं positivity की, and this is something also very beautiful. I don't know if there are any other questions, but if there are, I would pick up those questions and maybe we can mail them to them.
Just one point.
जी हाँ बताइए.
There's one more initiative that I have taken. I mean, through this medium, I would again like to reach to the people, especially the artists and musicians that we have in our valley. I mean, I've told you that we have no dearth of talent here in the valley, but the problem is that they don't get the platform to be expressed or to be translated into something meaningful. So I have initiated. I mean, this is the latest initiative. I mean, you can see this on my phone also. This is Cafe to
Yeah,
Cafe.
cafe to cafe. Yeah, cafe to cafe.
So
Cafe to
Cafe to
cafe.
Cafe.
Yeah.
Cafe to Cafe, I think some of our viewers must be knowing about it because we have already shot 2 episodes of this season, Cafe to Cafe. This is a very novel initiative that I have started. Every Thursday, 7:30 p.m., we go to a new cafe of the city, and we have with us two of the leading musicians and the artists from the valley, Irfan and Bilal. They are artists of international repute. They have performed in almost all the universities of art and culture throughout the world, and everybody knows them. I mean, I am trying to utilize their exposure to give a platform to the local youth budding talent. So every Thursday we have been hosted by a local cafe. There we showcase new talent, raw talent, new artists who otherwise don't get a platform to express themselves or to showcase their talent. So this is
Do watch Cafe to Cafe episodes. That's what Sheikh Adil and his team they have
it's on
started.
Instagram, it's on Facebook, and it's on Twitter also, and we have a YouTube channel also.
Sure, and we would equally promote that idea. And now that you have shared it also on Her World, we will be a partner in your progress and the progress of the society through these initiatives that Sheikh Adil you keep thinking about and working upon. And thank you so much for doing all that.
Thank you so much.
And it will help to youth come out from addictions also. That initiative Cafe to Cafe.
अच्छा, तो यूथ जो है वो एडिक्शन और बुरी आदतों से निकले, ये भी एक सजेशन आया है, which I'm sure can be pondered upon. So thank you so much. I think, I mean, with all of three of you, I think we can go on and on. There are so many questions that I've not even taken up, but I think in the time that permits, I think these are the questions. But I can maybe tell you that later we'll disturb you again, and maybe we can have next edition with more ideas and more concrete suggestions and more, let's say, different kind of people who also participate and ask questions. But thank you so much here. Do we have anything left here, Sneh? Is there anything that we have to do? Any question which is very important and still there?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Please allow me to say something.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I have a question for Sheikh Adil and Dr. Usha. So, first of all, you are considered as one of the cold heroes in J&K. For that, congratulations, your hard work. You are a great personality.
Thank you.
Thank you for this. And thank you all of these initiatives you are working on. And my question is here for you, sir. Related to as already a girl told you a question related to the police department. I have a question that related to the language problem. I feel and I have read already about it related to the language problem. That a little bit example I will tell you, sir. One day we three friends was discussing something, and a friend uttered a wrong sentence there. Then my second friend told him that she woman JK posted. It means why are you talking like the person in Jammu and Kashmir, please? So then, sir, we know that any example set in our society is because they have done already something related to whether bad or good, that is something else. But what is wrong with JK police so that people are giving them as example? People are taking them as example that you people are using bad language or something else. Is there any specific reason or?
Is it? Okay, this question has been a little shorter. So, Sheikh Adil, have you got it, or is there anything you have to say?
If I'm talking about, I mean, I didn't get the question in totality, but I think he talks about the attitude of police when they work in the field. I think is he talking about that?
I think so. Largely in the macro, I think framework. Yeah.
So all right. I mean, he has tried to highlight the problems of police officials when they deal with public on the field. I mean, that problem has been there. I will not say that it isn't happening there on the ground. These problems have been reported that people have not been dealt with. In some incidents, they have been manhandled also by police. And as sir was also saying that we are far behind from a very decent and mature policing culture also. But he should rest assured, I assure him that things are changing. From last 1 decade, I must say, more and more educated people are joining the police force, which was not so earlier. If you compare the composition of police force in the 2 decades, from the last decade to the current decade, you see that there's a lot of improvement in the quality of policing, the quality of officials and officers who are joining the police. Education wise also, you find many educated people opting for police services as their career choice. So yeah, remain hopeful. I mean, things are changing on the ground.
Okay. And one thing I can say, since we're talking about this whole justice system and policing, is, and I can say from my own experience as a journalist here, that, not only that men and women should come out if something wrong is happening, and they should use the right kind of processes, for example, to the police and to the judiciary, but also that more and more such cases are recorded. It's very important, because the data should reflect if there are numbers to work upon. That is also very important, because some cases we've seen that due to that gap, much has not come out in many other states as well. We're talking about the crimes against women. Sometimes, because there are not many cases reported, then not much can be done. So it's very important that we need to report and record, and we have to also become conscious citizens, so that we can get the right help. So to get the right help, we need to reach out as well, whether it's COVID-19 or where we have to voice our concerns, we have to voice the right things, and knock, so to say, loudly where it should be. But thank you so much to Dr. Aarti, Sheikh Adil, and Usha ji. Thank you so much for joining us here on Her World Show. I can tell you that we will keep taking such issues of importance, issues that need to be talked about, good work which is happening, which is sometimes overlooked. Her World is, trying to look at that space, because sometimes we feel that in mainstream media, such spaces are and that's where we come in, and we'll keep doing all that. We'll keep having some of you as voices who ask questions on our platform.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I have one question.
It has to be very brief, because we are ending.
First of all, I will introduce myself. I came a bit late. I am a Sajjad Khan, who did a COVID in a burial as a voluntary from the first day. I am the single man holding the coffins and bury them. I am the dead person. तो मुझे आदिल साहब से एक ही करना है।
आदिल साहब से बड़े सवाल पूछने, अगर आप बहुत शॉर्ट में मुझे बताएं तो शायद जल्दी से हम उसका जवाब ले।
मैं तो कह रहा हूँ मेरे दफ्तर नजदीक है, दफ्तर आके पूछ लीजिए।
क्योंकि आदिल साहब की वो बंदे जो है जो सोशली लोगों के साथ इस टाइम न जुड़ रहे हैं, क्योंकि पुलिस वो महकमा है जो हमेशा अपनी गैप रखता है, बट आदिल साहब ने वो गैप ना पूरी तरह मिटा दी।
बहुत शुक्रिया आपका, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका। और जैसा कि आपने कहा, ही इज ऑलवेज देयर, एक्सेसिबल।
मैं कहता हूं कि पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट
ने ओके, so Sheikh Adil is accessible, and so is the idea that police also needs to be accessible, so that people can trust them to reach out to them. And I think what we can understand, at least from these three speakers here, that thank you so much. I think I'll finish here because now the time is not really permitting. We need to wrap up the show, but we'll continue to have these kind of dialogues in future. I'm very, very, very thankful and delighted to Miranda House for providing us the guidance and support. Very thankful to Dr. Aarti, once again to you, and may you lead always, and may we look up to you for more inspiration, motivation. Sheikh Adil, thank you so much, and Dr. Usha, thank you
so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Her World team, I must mention that my team also is also a very young team, but they've always been there with a lot of passion and their own courage. So Sneh, who's the backstage, colleague. There is Deepak, there is Vikas, there is Anushka, Sapna today who joined from Miranda, Policy Center and Gender Lab, and Anushka, Dr. Vijay Lakshminanda, who always keeps guiding us. Thank you so very much, and thank you all.
I would like to interrupt. I would like to say I just love the name of the platform, Her World. It's quite catchy and looks very impressive.
We'll take the world to everyone, actually. We'll also reach out. And thank you, Dr. Aarti. We'll keep in touch with all of you, and all the very best to all of you.
One thing we forget here, ma'am, please. One thing we forget here, that is to thanks to you, and to your whole team for conducting this meeting and for giving us chance to share.
Thank you.
And I didn't know that even we have a very senior retired IPS officer here. So
Dr. Bhan, yes. And Dr. Bhan will also be in touch with, I think, everyone, and so will we be. He keeps guiding us. I can say, though I'm a journalist, but as I told you, that I've had the experience also of learning from him. So thank you, Dr. Bhan, that you took time and joined us. Thank you so very much.
thank you.